Hello students, I am your English mentor and today I have come to you with a very interesting and a new topic and it's called Alice and the Strange Animals. Who are strange and what does the word strange means? Strange means weird. Weird is something that is not so usual. So how were those animals strange and how did Alice go there and met those animals? Let's see. So, Alice follows the white rabbit down a rabbit hole. What happens to her there? Read about her adventures. So, Alice was a girl and she followed a white rabbit down a rabbit hole. So, what happens when she does so? And let's just read a little more about her adventures. So, Alice was sitting beside her sister on the riverbank. So, she was on a picnic and she was sitting by the river with her sister. She was thinking how boring her sister's book was. So, the book that her sister was reading was very boring. So it had no pictures. Suddenly, a white rabbit with a watch in its hand ran past. So, when she thought that her sister book was so boring, why? Because it had no pictures. Then she suddenly saw a white rabbit who had a watch in its hand ran past. Ran past means it just ran by Alice and she just saw that why is the rabbit carrying a watch in his hand. So she chose to follow him. Alice ran after it and just and was just in time to see it pop down a rabbit hole. So when Alice was chasing and following the rabbit went down a rabbit hole and down she went after it, falling so slowly that she had time to notice everything. So she fell very slowly and she was able to observe everything that was around her. As you can see that she was falling very slowly. After that, Alice landed in a long hall on a heap of dry leaves. So she landed in a long hall and she landed on a very big heap of dry leaves. This means that she did not even hurt herself after falling. So there were doors all around the hall. So in that room, in that hall, there were so many doors. So in the middle, there was a glass table on which lay a tiny gold key. So she observed that right in the middle of the room, there was a table and there was a tiny gold key kept on it. So she soon found that the key fitted into the smallest of the doors, which opened into the loveliest gardens you ever saw. So, what happened was that when she took that tiny gold key, and since there were so many doors in the same hall, she started trying all of them. She understood that the smallest door which is there in the room, that is the key of that door. And when she opened it, she was able to see that those were the prettiest and the loveliest of gardens in the world. So, however, she could not even get her head through the doorway. But that door was so small from her size that she could not even put her head through that door. She took the key back to the table and there she saw a little bottle with the words "Drink me" on it. Right? So when she went back to the table, this time she saw a bottle and it was written "Drink me" on it. "I will," said Alice, and finding it very nice, soon finished it off. So when she drank it, she loved the taste of it and she finished it very quickly. So, what a curious feeling. Curious here means inquisitive. Inquisitive means that she was getting very exciting feeling inside her. She said surprised, "For me, for she was now small enough to get through the door. So after she drank the drink, she reduced herself in size and she could easily walk through that door. But alas for poor Alice, she could no longer reach the key on the table. Now she had reduced so much in size, she was not able to get access to the key. Why? Because the key was on the table, and since she was so small, she was not able to reach on the top of the table. She tried to climb up one of the legs of the table, but it was too slippery. So she did try to get on the top of the table by climbing one of the legs of it, but the legs of the table were so slippery that she could not get a good grip on it. By then, she was so tired that she began to cry. So, since she began to cry, she was so upset that now I can never get the key back. Suddenly, through her ears, through her tears, she saw a little glass box lying under the table. Now, while she was crying and she had tears in her eyes, she was able to see a glass box under the table. She opened it and found a tiny piece of cake with the words "Eat me" on it. "Well, I will," said Alice, and soon found herself growing upwards till her head touched the roof. So she found a very tiny piece of cake on which it was written "Eat me." So she ate that as well. And this time she started growing so much that her head was able to touch the ceiling or the roof of the room. So as you can see that she has already, you know, grown up so much in size. So she at once took the golden key and hurried to the garden door. However, it was no use. Now that she was so big in size, she had access to the key and she really wanted to go out of that door, but it was of no use. Why? Because the door was so small and she herself was so big. She was so tall to go through the door. She sat down and began to cry again until there was a large pool around her. So she felt so helpless that she just cannot get out of that door and she started crying. She cried so much that there was a pool of water right there. After a while, she heard the patter of feet and a white rabbit appeared. So a patter means a beat. So after some time she heard a patter. Patter is the sound of footsteps. She heard it and then she saw a white rabbit coming. So at the sight of Alice, he dropped his fan and gloves and hopped away. So when the rabbit saw Alice in such giant shape and size, the rabbit got afraid and it just left its fan and gloves and ran away very quickly. Soon after that, "Dear, dear, how very strange everything is today," said Alice, picking up the fan and fanning herself. So she picked up the fan and fanned herself, and she thought that it is so strange that my day is so weird. First, I drank something and I became tiny, then I ate a cake and then I grew up so much. In either which ways, I am not able to get out of that door. So I'm getting smaller again. It must be the fan I'm holding. So when she was fanning herself, she became small again. So she dropped it quickly but couldn't stop herself from slipping into her own pool of tears. So while she was getting small, she realized that she had created a pool of tears and when she was crying. So she was now swimming in it, right? As you can see. "I do wish I hadn't cried so much," she thought, as a mouse came swimming towards her. So she just thought to herself that I should not have cried so much. Why? Because a mouse also came swimming towards her in her own pool of tears. After that, By now, the pool was getting very crowded with all the birds and animals that had fallen into it. There was a duck, Dodo, a bright colored parrot called Lorry, a baby eagle, and some other strange creatures. So, the pool and the water pool of tears was becoming crowded. Why? Because all the birds and animals were falling into it, like a duck, Dodo, parrot called Lorry, a baby eagle, and many other strange creatures. So I do think we should all make for the shore. Follow me, cried Alice and led the way. They swam to safety. So after that, Alice said that we are all going to swim off to the shore. Shore is a place which is a beach side or a riverside. Any water place that has an ending is called a shore. So they all swam to the shore and they all got safe. Right after that, however, they were still very wet. So all the animals decided to run a race. The dodo marked out the race course. So, since all the animals were all wet, why? Because of the tears they swam in. So, they all decided to run a race because if they run fast, the water will dry out. And the dodo also marked the race course. Course means the track. So, he marked the race track. No one said 1, 2, 3, start. Nobody was there to start the race. So they all ran when and how they liked. It was not bound by rules. All the animals and birds could run as and when they liked, in whichever way they were comfortable. So after some time, the dodo said, the race is over. Finally, the dodo said that the race is over. All the animals crowded around the dodo asking, but who has won? Since the race has come to an end, who has won? The dodo said, everyone has won. But who is to give the prizes? Asked the animals. So the dodo replied that everybody has won. So they asked, if all of us have won, then where are our surprises? So, why? She, of course, said the dodo, pointing to Alice. So, Dodo said that she is going to give us our prizes. Prizes, prizes, called out the animals. Alice put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a box of chocolates. She handed them out as surprises. So when she put her hand in her pocket and brought out a box full of chocolates, she gave those chocolates to all the animals and they got very happy to receive surprises. So it was a sweet little story on how Alice went on an adventure and found strange creatures. Tell me if you liked the storyline or not. Now, we are going to attempt a few questions related to this chapter. First up, we have the MCQ questions. Herein, you will get one question, and for every one question, you will get three options. Out of those three options, only one option is correct. So, are you going to help me identify what that one option is? Yes. So, let's begin. That where was Alice sitting beside her sister? In the garden, on a seashore, and on the river bank. She was sitting by the river bank. After that, let's see some more questions. So, after whom did Alice run? White Rabbit, Dodo, or Lorry? She was running after the White Rabbit. What did she see on the glass table? She saw a tiny silver key, a tiny gold key, or a tiny bronze key. She saw a tiny gold key. What next did she find on the table when she was back with the key? A tiny little piece of cake, a little bottle, or another key. So she found a little bottle. And then who came swimming towards Alice? A mouse, a baby eagle, or a bright colored parrot. So it was the mouse first. And now we are going to fill in all of these blanks. So, a white rabbit with a dash in its hand ran past to the Alice. So, a white rabbit with a watch in its hands. So Alice landed in a long hall on a dash of dry leaves, on a heap of dry leaves. Now what does the word heap means? I already told you in the chapter that it's a bunch, or you can say lots of dry leaves when are put together are called heap. So she saw a little bottle with the words drink me on it. So she saw a dash lying under the table. So she saw a glass box. After a while, she heard the dash of feet and a dash appeared. She heard the patter of feet and a white rabbit appeared. The dash marked out the race course. The dodo marked out the race course. Next up we have write T for true and F for false. So T for true stands for the truth or the correct statements, and F for false stands for the incorrect or wrong statements. So first up we have Alice was sitting beside her brother on the riverside. This is incorrect because she was sitting with her sister. So this is false. Alice landed in a long hall on a heap of dry leaves. This is true. Next up we have Alice put her hand in her pocket and she pulled out a box of chips. No, she pulled out a box of chocolates. So this is also incorrect. Right after this, the pool was getting very crowded with all the birds and animals that had fallen into it. That's also true. So we are going to write T here. And now you are going to attempt all these questions in your notebook itself. And you are going to find the answers of it from the chapter itself. And now we have the word building exercise. So write the opposite of each of the following words. First up we have boring. So opposite of boring is exciting. For slow we have fast. For long we have short. For lovely we have ugly. For cry we have laugh. For tiny we have big. For large we have small. For appeared we have disappeared. So now we have just formed the opposite of all these words. And now use the following words and make meaningful sentences of your own. So these are the words that you are given and you are going to frame a sentence out of it. So in these blanks, write a sentence on your own using these words. So now let's move ahead. We will see some grammar based questions now. So read this sentence. Alice is running after the rabbit. We use the present continuous tense when we talk about things happening at the time of speaking. For example, I am teaching you right now. You are studying right now. So the words listening and teaching, they are both happening right now. So we use present continuous tense in these cases. And also things happening for a short period of time. So all the things which are happening for a very short period of time, we use present continuous tense for it. And then changes that are happening in the nature or around us, we again use simple continuous or present continuous tense to reflect that. So traffic is increasing in cities. This is also a change that is happening. and also it's there for a very short time. So traffic is increasing is in present continuous tense. And now we are going to complete these sentences with the present continuous tense of the words given in these brackets. So the sun dash brightly, and the word we are given with is shine. So it will become the sun is shining brightly. Then we have Neha dash a beautiful picture. Neha is painting a beautiful picture. Look, it is raining. He dash a letter, write. So he is writing a letter. They dash all the time. They are playing all the time. So this just shows that something is happening in present tense only. And now we will see some more. So Alice was slipping into her own pool of tears, and Alice was crying for a long time last night, or she was crying for a long time last night. So we use past continuous tense to talk about an action that was happening sometime in the past. So anything that was happening in the past, we use past continuous tense for it. And that was going on for some time in the past when something else happened. So when something else was happening, there was also an activity happening for a very short duration of time. For example, I was sleeping when you came. So this is also a past continuous tense sentence. The past continuous tense used to form was or were with the verb and ing. So we use the helping verbs was or were, and we add the word ing to the verbs that we have. I know you are slightly confused, but I am going to help you clear your doubts by attempting one question on this. So let's begin. We have this particular question. Circle the correct verbs to complete these sentences. The pool was getting overcrowded when all the birds and animals fell into it. So the pool was getting. Was getting highlights the past continuous tense. Why? Because something was happening in the past while these things happened. So this is how we are able to understand that how something was happening in the past time. And now it was raining when I woke up this morning. So the right part is going to be it was raining when I woke up in the morning. So I made or I was making cupcakes when Ria ran or was running into the room. So I was making cupcakes when Ria ran into the room. This is the right selection of words. So we were sleeping when our relatives arrived from Australia. We were playing or played when father returned or was returning home from work. So we were playing when father returned home from work. So all these parts show that we have, past continuous tense here. And then the sun was shining every day that summer. So this is also a past continuous tense. And now you are going to attempt this listening time exercise by yourself. And next up we have some pronunciation and let's write activity for you. Now we have some more life skills and fun time activities for you. And last but not the least, we have this one paper folding thing for you wherein you can make this beautiful owl, chick, turkey and flamingo by just using paper. So I hope that you were able to understand this chapter very nicely, and I hope to see you super soon with one more new topic. Till then, keep studying, keep revising and take care of yourself. I'll take my leave now. Bye bye.